Welcome to Limitless Living Into the Mindset, the podcast that dives into the heart of growth, grit, and what it really means to keep moving forward. Magda, welcome to Into the Mindset. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Feeling a little nervous today?
Yeah. Yes. No, I'm excited. I'm super excited, but I do tend to overthink.
That's all right. That's all right. We want overthinkers. That's good. We're here to learn. So we need to hear the thinking
Process,
side of the process of it all. So tell me a little bit about you, kind of from the beginning. Clearly you were born and raised here in Lebanon, Missouri.
Right.
So
yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So, well, I guess it depends which birth we're talking about, right? No, but I was born and raised in Poland, Warsaw. And my dad was a pilot, so we always traveled a lot. And my dream and passion was always traveling. And we visited the United States many times. And after college, I decided to do internship to get more experience. I have a degree in hotel and restaurant management, so.
Okay.
I decided to complete my program. So I came to United States. I lived in Dallas, and I had internship over there with one of the hotels. And
Gotcha.
Well, during my internship, I met my husband.
Okay.
21 years ago.
21 years ago.
And here we are in Lebanon, Missouri. So, yeah.
So you guys met in Dallas?
Yes.
So what brought you to Lebanon?
So ultimately, my husband was born in Lebanon.
Okay.
But after we met, I moved to St. Louis where he lived. And we got married. I worked at one of the casinos. I mean, I had some other jobs in between, but I worked at one of the casinos. I was a supervisor manager over there.
Okay. I didn't know where we were going with that. So,
yeah.
Okay, supervisor manager.
Yes. And well, it's all job related. Like my whole idea was to work with banquets. That was my banquet sales. That's what I want to do. And it was really hard for me to get into that business because wherever you would apply, they would always say, hey, we need somebody with experience. And even though I had a degree, I had no experience. So, and after a few years of working at the casino, I actually got an offer that position within the company that I've been already for a few years. And I was super pumped because even though I didn't have experience, I guess they saw something there and they offered me a job. And 6 months later, my husband got a job offer in Lebanon, Missouri. And here we are. No, it was always, when we came and visited Lebanon for the first time, I'm like, it's a beautiful town. We're never moving. I grew up in a big city. I always traveled. Traffic doesn't scare me. And here, that was in 2004. There was, not as vibrant as we are right now.
Yeah. And we're still not even close to considered a city or anything like that. We're still very much a town, I guess but a lot more vibrant than what it would have been back in the early 2000s.
Exactly. So I just didn't see the option. And then right after I got my job, the one that I waited for so long, my husband got a job offer here. And it was one of those deals that, writing your own contract pretty much. So we thought maybe for a year, maybe for 2.
Yeah.
And here we are, 18 years later, 17 years later.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and I'm very glad you're here, but I know a lot of the community members are glad you're here. When I was talking about, we were going to have you on and stuff, everybody was really excited. And so you're very loved in our community now. Tell me a little bit more about kind of your upbringing in Poland.
So I was born in 1981. So during the whole turmoil of, still a communism country and so many limitations. My grandpa was he was actually the coolest thing about my grandpa. He was a zoo director, but besides that, he was I guess we can call it an activist, but he was pro, or I should say against communism. So he fought for freedom, and it was tricky. I was actually talking to somebody a few days ago you had to collect newspapers to exchange it for toilet paper. This is just one of the things that I that I remember. So we were very limited on, what kind of food you'll get, just because the government pretty much told you what you can, what you cannot have.
Yeah.
So, but that all changed. Now it's a second favorite place to be. I mean, obviously right now, Lebanon, United States, this is my home, but Poland is very close to my heart, and we're actually heading out there in a week for vacation. So every time I have a chance, we go back, just because it's, not that the home is there, but the roots are there. The roots, my whole family is in Poland. So yes, but I was lucky enough that, we still traveled living in Poland, but we traveled a lot with my dad, and, but it's definitely smaller. Cars are smaller, parking spots are smaller. But right now, all the opportunities are there.
Yeah. So I know my wife, her father is from Cuba. Okay. He came over back in the 60s on some government program or whatever and earned his citizenship. He just recently, a few years ago, was able to go back and see his family. I think it had been 35 years before he had been able to see his family and stuff again. And they kind of talked about that. They're only allowed a certain amount of food, a certain amount of toiletries, a certain, type setup is similar how they are. So it's crazy to think about that, something you were talking about from your childhood, but it's still happening even today. And I don't think as Americans, we really think about that. There are still these countries that, these people are going through that. So how lucky are we that we get to...
Oh, absolutely. And, with us, I remember, and I was pretty little, but I remember you would receive coupons where you would have marked, like, you would get so many pounds of meat based on how many family members. But also you had to be in line like at 3:00 in the morning because they would bring to the store only certain amount of food. And if you're late, you could always buy vinegar. I don't know why, but the vinegar was always available. For Christmas, they would put oranges and stuff like that. But one of the coolest things with those, limited groceries and produce, Christmas was always, you would get oranges and then you would get, we would get, like my family, my dad we would have a Coke, just a bottle of Coke. And so the tradition is still in our family. And my brother actually just reminded me about it a few years ago because in Poland for Christmas, you open gifts on Christmas Eve evening. Like after the first star is in the sky, that's when the Santa comes and he brings out the gifts. The parents trying to distract you so you don't see him. Yeah. Anyway, so you would get that bottle of Coke and, it's too late to drink it that night because of the coffee and parents want some break. So we were always allowed to have that Coke for breakfast. So a few years ago, we were spending Christmas when the kids were younger with my brother, and he's like, okay, it's Christmas breakfast, we're having Coca-Cola for breakfast. And my son thought that was the coolest thing ever. But it's just the thing that we remember from, being little, that Coca-Cola was one of the things that you would get for Christmas just because there was nothing available.
I remember my mom had read a story or something at one time about the oranges. And so she thought, I'm going to do that for my kids. And so one year in our stockings, she put oranges in there. So we open our stockings and everything. We pull out this orange and we're like, what is wrong with you, Mom? Like, what? But now, like, hearing this, it's like, that was an exciting thing when you're living in, a country like that where you only get those, certain things. Or like you said with the Coke, you only get that, a certain time of year. So,
and I think it's definitely something that, stuck with me, growing up. And even though my dad had a great job, I think at this point, and I don't want to lie, but he was a pilot. And he was the first Polish pilot that he actually brought Boeing to Poland for the first, the long flights. And, we never splurged. And that's just something what I guess is just stuck in my head. My poor kids, they never get to experience huge, Christmas gifts. Cause I'm like, it's just not.
Stay humble.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So So yeah, that's definitely, I think, being raised with limitation, not necessarily caused by your ability, but by what ultimately the government tells you what you can, what you cannot do. It definitely gives you a different perspective on, what really is a true value in your life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So kind of, a hot topic in our country right now, and I don't want to get political, but I want to know kind of the process with it. When you came over here for your internship and then you ultimately got a job here, you got married here, how was the immigration process for you? Kind of, how did you go through that? Was it through your marriage, or did you do your citizenship and everything prior to that?
So when I first, because during my college years, I would come to United States for 3-4 months at the time. They called it work and travel programs. So me and my friends worked. And then when I came for internship, I had it was, I believe, J1 visa. It was for students working where I was allowed to work. But it was 18 months total. So I met Brad 2 weeks after I came to United States. It was really early. And then the next day I called my mom and I said, I met the guy I'm going to marry, period. So that was kind of easier process, not because of the papers, but it's just, I just knew this is it. So we got married exactly a year later. So I still had, I believe, 7 months or 6 months, legally on my papers. And that's when we started the process of what is a green card. That's where, you don't have the citizenship, but you're a resident. So you still, you can't vote, but you have all the other rights. And so I had those papers. And then the trick with the green card is that even though you're a legal resident, you have to renew it every 10 years. And it was just one of those things, we were raising kids and we were just busy thinking. So I never really thought about going actually for the citizenship. I was just, when it was time to renew the green card, that was, on the back of my mind. And one day we were coming back from Poland, and during my passport control, the gentleman did ask me, why don't you have citizenship? And I really didn't have a good answer. I'm like, I just didn't get around it. Like, that pretty much what it was. I didn't have a good excuse. So I'm like, you know what, we just got to get on it. And, the process, I mean, it's like with any paperwork, it's a lengthy process because you got to go to St. Louis multiple times, your fingerprints, which it's still, if you got here the right way, they already have all your stuff. You just have to confirm everything. So it wasn't anything difficult. It was just a matter of, okay, I'm going to do it. And like I said, the years before, I didn't have a good excuse. I just didn't get around it. So we had to go through the interview. Of course, all the movies that I watched were, like what lotion he uses. Are you really married? At that point, we already had kids, so that wasn't a problem. But, you're still kind of nervous because it's like somebody is, are you for real? Or but
somebody's already kind of accusing you of being a liar and you have to prove them wrong. Yeah,
yes,
kind of thing.
Exactly. But it wasn't, that was kind of the whole process. And the great thing is with Poland, I did not have to give up my Polish citizenship. So right now I've got a dual citizenship, and my kids are also, we travel so much. It was definitely during COVID, it was a little easier with documents because, so many countries were just limited. You couldn't go visit unless you were a citizen. So yes, but yeah, that was kind of, I'm proud that I've got my citizenship. I think we feel a little calmer about it now too, just because, but I never crossed the line with my papers. I was always, and that's without getting political, it is just thing to do.
Yeah. So what advice would you give somebody right now that's kind of going through that process or getting ready to go through that process? If you could give them any kind of advice or way to go about it or kind of best way to go about it.
So, and it's actually funny because we just had an exchange student that she left a few weeks ago and she wants to come back to be a student. And of course, there's so much fear because you hear the students being, they don't get their visas or whatever. I mean, really, just go the right way. there are ways. It is not as complicated. I'm not comparing here, United States with any other country, but that's kind of what you have to do with all the countries. Right. Poland is extremely strict on their immigrations. And so I'm just don't put yourself in a situation that one day you're going to regret because you didn't do it the right way. Yeah. I don't think we can ever make America not being open for immigrants because that's what it's built on. But just do it the right way so it doesn't bite you and your family back down the road. So definitely just, I know people who don't know English very well, but they do want to come here. There are, ways to use a attorney to help with the paperwork and all that stuff. But just do it the right way and love the country that you want to go to, because that is the whole trick. I know that is one of the reasons why there is the mess. So yeah, I just don't
do it the right way.
Yeah, just do it the right way, because sooner or later it's going to bite you back one way or another.
So my brother-in-law, he's from England. I believe he also has his dual citizenship as well. And then their daughter as well also. But talking about the different immigration policies, my sister originally went over to England. And the original plan was that she was going to stay there until they realized how much more it cost and how much more of a process it was for her to get citizenship through there.
Yes.
And so ultimately he came here and he got his citizenship here just because the cost was a little bit lower. It was still a process. I believe they did hire an attorney to kind of help him out with some of that. But they were able to go through that whole process and get there. But we look at it as, well, we make it so hard. We're supposed to be a free country, which we are, as long as you do it the right way.
Right.
But a lot of the other countries do make it quite a bit more difficult than what even America does currently.
Right. Right. And it's because I know somebody was talking to me not too long ago about the policies in Poland, and they are extremely strict. True enough, they are located. It's easier access, just because you don't have water on any of the sides. So, but either with the war in the Ukraine or everything what's going on in Europe, period. I know they are really strict on the immigration, but you really got to look at it. In some way, you try to protect your country. There are my brother, for example. He lives in Dubai. He's a pilot there, and you cannot live there unless you have a job or you have enough money in your account to prove that you can support yourself. If you don't have a job, you have, X amount of months to get a job, and then you're out. They don't care. They protect their country. I'm not saying to go to the extremes, but what I'm just saying that there are countries that will just not, you can't retire there either. But they also don't pay taxes. That's the other side. But anyway, it's the other subject. But
everything's a little bit different. But I think it's as much that we hear on the news and things like that with everything. I think it's still comforting to know that compared to other countries, I think we're still very accepting and open in our country. So
and truly, that's how America was built. It is the land of immigrants that build it. So, part of it is respect all those people that came here the right way. They put their sweat, they put their money, So, but it's just going to be a longer process. I think right now we're in the initial shock,
right?
Just with everything what's going on, and then things will,
And I think how quickly it's kind of happened as well. So. Internship in Dallas, meet husband, you moved to Lebanon. Now you are real estate.
I am real estate
agent and catering, cooking, catering.
Catering, cooking, juicing.
So let's get into a little bit of that.
Yeah. Well, I have discovered that potentially maybe there is a chance I might be a workaholic. You don't know, maybe. I have discovered kind of with me that busier I am, calmer I am. Just because if I don't have anything on the calendar, it's almost like, oh my gosh, am I forgetting something? It's like, I should be doing something. I've got nothing going on. Like, how is it even possible? And the worst thing is when the plans suddenly get changed around. Well, that is just a mess. I just want to lay on the couch and, it's like, why should I be doing something? Why I'm not doing anything? So the real estate was just something what at that point I thought would be really fun thing to do. I became really close friend with Keshan, who is my broker, and we were in a running club together. And one day we were driving, and at this point I was working for my brother-in-law, helping him with books and with his company. And I was like, you know what? I think I have extra time. Why don't I get into real estate? And got the classes. It was one of the longest weeks of my life. I mean, it was hard. And, regardless on how long I've been here, the language barrier, it still sometimes gets me. At the office constantly, they're making fun of me, of my accent or the words, and they always, not in a mean way, they're just being silly. Today we were talking about something and they're like, well, come on, repeat that again because it sounds ridiculous. So, but I just decided, let's just do it. So I decided to get my license and joined amazing office. I'm with Century 21, and I do love how close we are. And it was good. I thought, if I get one transaction here or there, that would be great. Because my thinking process was, well, I'm not from here. I don't know that many people. The first few years when I was here, it was a little, I don't want to say challenging, but it was harder. Here I am. I didn't grow up here. I've got a strong accent. It was a little more challenging to find friends or like your crowd. And then from month to month, I'm like, oh my dear, I guess I do know people because, I was getting busier and busier and busier and still kids in Victoria. Was only 2 years old at that point. So I decided to team up with another agent. It was so funny because I think we were both pretty competitive, kind of watching what the other person does. And then you're thinking, what's the best way to do, with your competition? Team up. So, and that was great. Love your
enemies, right?
I know. And it was funny because we are so different. Kathy is no longer in Lebanon. She moved and she retired, but we were so different. She is the big hugger and wants to give hug to every agent. And I'm like, can we shake hands? And I'm like, Kathy, don't hug them because then I have to hug them. So no, but we work together very well. We just had the different ability to bring those deals together. And then COVID hit. And COVID was just a crazy time. I mean, it was so stressful because ultimately the goal is to bring buyers and sellers together to make sure that, things are done right. And it was just tricky. Thank goodness, where we live, it was still busy. It was still insane, but, not comparing to the big cities. So I started thinking, I'm like, I love the real estate, but I also have that degree in restaurant and business. And I am an athlete. I work out a lot. And I started going through, because of the stress of the COVID. And, I'm like, okay, well, we got to work out because, you still got to stay in shape and COVID can get you or whatever. And so I started meal prepping because, I tried all the diets in the world. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just try to, meal prepping. So I would meal prep for myself and I would bring food to the office. And I remember a couple of agents in my office like, well, what do you eat for lunch? So I would always come up with some crazy meals, which the cuisine in Poland is different too. So we do a lot of different meals that here are a little questionable, I guess. So I had a few agents ask me well, if you're making lunch for yourself, would you make for me? And I'm like, well, that's, of course I can bring it to you. And then the word started spreading that Magda cooks. And Magda makes meals. So, and in the meantime, also my son was playing soccer for Lebanon Soccer High School. And my big goal was like, oh my gosh, those athletes, the games are so exhausting. Like they have to have a good meal before the game. So we started, me and another mom started like prepping meals for them before the game. So, and then the word started spreading. I had more and more people asking for meals. We made some meals here and there, then realized, well, I guess if we want to keep doing it, we need to go legit because that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That's the right way to do it.
Do it the right way.
Yes, do it the right way. So at this point, I had a really good relationship with Bistro. We live not too far from there, so we would go visit. And one day I sat down with Ford and I said, hey, you're closed, a certain amount of days in a week. Like, let me rent it from you. Like, let me lease your kitchen so I can do what my plan is. Because the big thing is, I think we are missing the healthy part of the food. Not only in our community, period. Like, we just go for easy, fast, and whatever it's there. And, sometimes we think, okay, well, I'm going to get my extra protein on, protein powder or shakes and smoothies and all that stuff. And I remember one time I was working with a dietitian and she was always like, don't drink your protein, eat your protein and all that stuff. So that's how it all started, just kind of through Bistro. And then that property went on the market. So we knew that will be ending. And it's just with a lot of prayers, because that was the whole thing. God, what do you want me to do? Like, where do we go from there? And everything was just falling into places. Like, well, let's build the kitchen. Let's do it from the kitchen. And it just flew. And so now we have also, so I do real estate. I started with meal prepping, and we just had a couple meals a week. I would do the deliveries, and then we started implementing more meals, and then we started implementing breakfasts, and then I needed to hire more people because just me and Brenda, who works for me, wasn't enough. And then we had to hire a delivery person and somebody that helps me with the books. And then we had a request in a desperate moment of, oh my gosh, we have a wedding for 200 people. Can you cater? I'm like, I don't do catering. No, but you can do it. We know you can do it. Okay, that's on your own risk. And it turned out great. Yeah. And then, I have amazing people in Lebanon who are business owners and they are in the same field what I am, that trusted me to send their clients my way because they were booked. And so we started getting more and more phone calls from, well, we did talk to that business and they said, we can't, but Magda can. So that was a huge, and this is a huge shout to Nancy with Andy's 417. She trusted me to send her clients in desperate moments. And that is really the biggest, I guess, blessing because we have people here that trust us. And my main goal is accommodate the needs. Yeah. Sometimes it gets crazy busy, but we try to, and it's just, but it's all just, it just happened. There was no plan for it. Like if you asked me 2 years ago, there was no plan for it. Right.
I think that's when some of the best things happen, is when we're just kind of putting everything on faith, everything on God, and just being like, take me wherever you need me to go. And then you start to see those stepping stones put in place, and you're just like, okay, I'm just along for the ride at this point. And it starts to happen. And it's to have a community that's a lot of what this podcast is for. We have, I say all the time on social media, everybody has a story, and we're starting out here in a small town talking to local people because I know that there are some incredible stories here. And I know that not only can those stories help future business owners, future leaders in our community, but they can help other future leaders and business owners and stuff outside of our community, because everybody has a story and everybody has something to learn from it, and we can all help each other. It's a competitive field because as a business, you're always competing with another business. It's similar to yours or just like yours. But at the same time, we're talking about millions and millions of people, or in our community, thousands of people. There's plenty to go around. We can all help each other, and we can all, build each other up. And that's kind of what this is here for, this podcast. One of the big reasons is, we're here to learn. I want to learn from you how you grew your business and how all of that happened. And I want to learn from others how they got to where they are and stuff like that, because you never know how your story can help somebody else.
Right. And one thing that I want to add here, it's you want to focus on growing the business, but it's the kindness of your heart that will really helps you with this. Mm-hmm. Because I think it's if not the relationship with the people that you surround yourself, or the people you not necessarily surround, that you cross paths with. It doesn't matter if it's at the Walmart, mm-hmm. Holding the door for somebody, which we don't hold the door at the Walmart anymore. Yeah. But it's just, I think, I got myself in a little jam actually last week. It was a real estate transaction, but we were cutting short on time. Mm-hmm. We needed documents, we needed appraisal to be done. And I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? Thank goodness, with the really good relationship of the community and the people in your business area, sometimes that helps so much with growing it and, mm-hmm. and being able to help others. Because if you just think about growing yourself without actually helping others, mm-hmm. whatever it is, it can be making sure that you take the stress away during a real estate transaction. Mm-hmm. Or, we have a set menu for right. our meals, and then somebody like, oh my gosh, I really would like to order, but I just cannot have cheese or whatever. Is just right. accommodating. And, sometimes it's an extra step that we have to do, but mm-hmm. you're thinking, okay, it's going to cost me 5 more minutes.
Right.
But we're actually able to meet, their needs, whatever that need is. Sometimes it's a simple thing, but sometimes it's, for them a sleepless night because mm-hmm. they're stressing over something that you can fix. Right. Just out of,
No, I actually just had this conversation with my son, being a business owner and being an entrepreneur and in that world myself. This year he started, this summer he wanted to mow yards and do that, the normal teenager boy uh-huh. thing to do, be outside and do that. And I'm really proud of him for wanting to go out on his own and kind of do that himself. And he didn't really ask me to market for him or anything like that. He kind of mm-hmm. took it upon himself. And, I mean, he uses a lot of our friends and things, but that's okay.
Well, you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. But I was telling him, he said, Dad, I'm going to mow so-and-so's yard. And I said, okay, that's good. I went, hey, just so you know, I was running by there the other day and I noticed their tree limbs were a little low over their driveway. I was like, so after you're done mowing, why don't you just trim the tree branches around? He goes, okay. Do I need to charge more? Like, kind of, you could tell that it was kind of like a question. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, hey, if you take care of them, they're going to take care of you. If you do something out of the goodness of your heart, it's going to get forwarded down the road. I said, so sometimes you go above and beyond. You don't want to be a people pleaser all the time, but every once in a while you go above and beyond. They're going to, share your name with the next person they come in contact with, and it's going to help your company grow. So without thinking, oh, I'm going to do this so that I could get this, but just going into it thinking, I just need to be a good person. Right. Your company is going to grow off of that. Right. By just being a genuinely good person and taking care of your people. Right. Right. Yeah. And that's what I truly believe. Mm-hmm. This is one thing that my daughter, whenever she goes to school in the morning, and of course she's at the age that the eye roll is just the appropriate response to whatever we say. She's amazing and loving, but that's just what they do. The eye roll at this point at that age really is the I love you.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Right. But every time I drop her off to school, she gets out of the car and I said, hey, make sure you're a blessing to somebody today. A simple thing. It doesn't have to be, you know, something crazy, but just be a blessing to somebody. And that's what I always
that's good.
try to, you know, I am pretty competitive with my business and my friends at work always laugh that when my accent gets thick, things get serious. But it's a joke. Might got thick a couple of times, but But ultimately, just be a blessing, and things just happen.
Yeah.
I mean, blessing and a hard worker, because I mean, if you're just a blessing and you don't work hard, like things not necessarily going to happen. But
now you're just doing things for free.
Right. Right. And everybody loves you.
Everybody loves you, but you're broke.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So we'll get into, you mentioned you started with meal prepping because you're into health and wellness. I remember whenever I first met you, I believe it was still the Civic Center at the time. It's the Y now. But when I first met you, I think your kids were doing swim lessons at the time. But you were active, but you weren't nearly as active as you are now. So what was that process like, going from, you know, just starting out with your kind of health and wellness journey and to the point where you are now?
Right. So since I was a kid, I was always very active. I swam in school, and then I swam a little bit in college, and that was kind of my sport. And I never liked to run because it was hard, pretty much. But I always was strong. So for me, you know, going to the gym, those were the things that I would do. And yes, my son was in the swimming lessons, and actually Mara was his teacher. So, and I'm like, well, you know what, we're here, so I just gonna go work out at the gym. At this point, right, it was above the pool, the tiny little...
If you want to call it a gym at the time,
it was a room with some equipment, right. So, and I met a girl through my husband's job, and we decided to train for our first 5K, and it was the Mercy. And I still remember my first 5K. It was, I think I completed in 37 minutes. It was horrible. I hated it. You start up the hill. I mean, what the heck? Who wants to do this for fun? So, and I still didn't consider myself a runner, but it was a few years after I had Jacob. I still had my pregnancy weight on, and I decided, you know what, I just have to do something with it. So I started working out, and then things got shifted a little with my husband was starting a new job, and just the stress would change. I decided, you know what, I really have to, running is somehow, it was just helping release the stress. So that's how I started talking more seriously, I guess, about, well, maybe we can start, you know, maybe I can start running. That friend that I ran my first 5K with, she moved to another state. I met, which I knew Katie half way before that, just because Lucy and Jacob are the same age. But I did go to classes at the Y. I think at that point was already Y. It was kickboxing with Holly. And then there was more and more equipment. So I started working out more, and I started seeing, hey, you know what? When you work out, you actually feel pretty good. So how about we keep doing it? So, and then I started running, and then Katie Half started doing her boot camp. And it just became a hobby. I trained for my first half marathon with Katie, which right now I'm like, she is such an amazing athlete. She's such an amazing runner. I could not keep up with her now.
I don't know.
And I couldn't keep up with her then either.
No, if I can keep up with her now.
Right.
I mean,
but
especially this year, she has gone crazy. I mean, we'll just say it as it is. She's gone crazy this year, especially with her mileage. Right. And we coached together, so I get to talk to her pretty often. But, she's like, I just had this goal that I'm going to hit this year. And she's going to hit it. I mean, she's going.
Right. She is amazing. And it's so funny because I have a group of girls that we run in the mornings with. And we, it's the schedule. It's the busyness. It's an excuse, whatever you want to call it. We shift it into run, walk. Oh, it's better for you. It's what we do. But it's so funny because when we see Katie running, like, okay, run, Katie's coming. So it's
there's that accountability there. That's what trainers are for.
Right. So, but that's really where it started. It started with Katie. She got me into running, and I remember my first half marathon I ran in 2 hours and 15 minutes, which I was super proud.
Yeah.
Just because. Great. Yes. So, and then I was in the best shape of my life. I mean, mentally I was in a really good place. And physically, I mean, I had a 6-pack. Talking about, I was super proud, but I really enjoyed working out. Uh-huh. And then I got pregnant with our second kiddo, Victoria. Yeah. But it's just running for all those years before. Mm-hmm. So I ran with her until I was 7.5 months pregnant. Went back to running within, I would say, 3 weeks from having her. So it was such a quick recovery, and you get addicted. I mean, if you don't go for a run, it issues. Hurts. Yes. Yeah. And just your mind goes all, so then there was a running club in Lebanon, run by Joy and Nick Weiss, and amazing runners, amazing athletes. And
I ran with both of them in high school.
Right. So they are.
I actually I'll get into it in a minute, but I have a great story about Nick. But continue.
Right. So they're just amazing, and we got pretty close. Jacob loved spending time with them and just all the activities. But anyway, so the goal was to beat my half marathon and run it under 2 minutes, and we
2 hours. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, the 2 minutes might be hard.
Amazing.
Yes. Well, right. So the 2 hours, and we trained hard. And I remember we would go early in the morning, and, you had the pace, which they never want to tell us really what the pace is because it was always crazy. And they're like, okay, well, your rest pace is 9:15. And I'm like, 9:15? My rest pace? I'm like, how can you even, so, but I mean, the training was great. I didn't hit my goal, but I was 2 minutes within my goal. It was 2 hours and 2 minutes. So I was super proud. I felt great. And then I started real estate. So, which, in the meantime, I started doing CrossFit, which was also an amazing experience. I started doing competition with CrossFit. I never went on to the crazy level like some athletes, but I podium couple times, and it was something that I really loved. Addictive, very addictive. I would get my schedule around just to make sure that I can be there at the class, because if you don't, you're like, I'm wasting the day.
Right.
What is going on? So CrossFit was a huge part of my life.
I think that's really important, though, talking about schedule and just overall priorities. A lot of times, the last thing that we put on our schedule is our health.
Right.
Or our fitness. So it's cool to hear you saying, I put everything around that. Now, we know now there's other things that need to be a priority, our faith, our family, and then, health and things like that. But so many people put, their jobs or, just all the outside things in front of their own health and wellness, or a lot of other people in front of that. So putting that as a priority in your life, I think, is really important. And I love that you kind of hit on that with everything was scheduled around me being able to go work out.
Yes. It just benefits, we're not only talking about the muscle growth and how great you look, but it's a mental, if you take care of yourself, you'll be able to take care of your family or whoever you have to take care of. It's just because if you're in a mess, you can't, nobody will benefit. You spreading whatever you sharing, I mean, yeah. So we know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that was a huge, and there was a time where my schedule got super busy, and I started seeing that is becoming not a priority anymore. My job is becoming priority. Of course, family. But you can also tell how mentally it started affecting me as well, because you're missing those endorphins. You're missing the just all together feeling good, and so yeah.
It's definitely it needs to be a priority. This year I'm doing the 365, so it's where you're trying to run every single day, no days off for a year. And
how is that going?
It's going really well.
Okay.
But whenever I was thinking about, should I do this? Should I not do this? I've done all the other things and stuff like that. So I'm always trying to find like unique challenges to do now with running and stuff. And this was one of those, I was like, yeah, I want to try that. But do I have the time for it? Am I going to be able to do that every single day and stuff like that? And what I've found with it through the process is I always have time for it.
Right.
And I always had the time for it. I just filled it with something ridiculous that really I didn't need to be doing anyways. And then part of my energy level comes from my running. And so to be there for my family, to be there for my friends, to be there at work, a lot of that energy is from that run.
Right.
I get the endorphin hit. That dopamine hits, and you get that runner's high, and you're just like, okay, I'm ready to go now. I could start the day now.
Right.
Or even if I run at the end of the day, oddly enough, that's how I decompress. It's been a stressful day. I want to go for a run.
Right.
There's been a lot of times in my relationship with my wife and everything that I come home and I walk in through the door and she looks at me and she's like, go for a run. Because she can just tell you've had a rough day. You got a lot on your mind. Go for a run.
Right.
And when I'm done with the run, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm good now. So make it a priority. And whether it's running, being in the gym, swimming, whatever it is, or just going for a walk, I think it's very important to make it a priority.
Yes. And, sometimes I talk to friends, and during the school year, our regular running time is around 5:15 in the morning. And sometimes you just pray for that rain. Come on, storm. It's going to be storming and we don't have to get up. And then you're like, dang it moved. I have to get up. And so often you're like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And then in the back of your head, like, you will not regret that. Like, you will not regret. And with me, if I sleep past 7:30, it's a wasted day, just because you kind of start moving. So, but that's kind of me. Like, I rather to be in bed at 9:00 and get up earlier than stay up. But it's just what works.
There's been so many times that I'm not gonna wake up tomorrow. I'll run tomorrow afternoon. I don't want to wake up early in the morning, and then 6:00 hits. I'm still awake.
Right.
Anyways, so I'm like, I might as well. Yesterday, I got home. My wife had her workout class in the morning, and the kids are at home now. It's summertime. So, wife had her workout class, so I couldn't go run that morning. So I had to run in the evening in the heat. Thanks. But, it's really good. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm supposed to do 6 miles today.
Okay.
I don't really want to do 6 miles in this heat. It's hot. It's sticky. It's muggy. I don't want to do 6 miles. I'm going to do 3, maybe 4. And I end up doing the 6.
6. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, whoa, so what did you end up with?
Yeah. Yes. Once you start to do the run, you're like, oh, man, this feels good. I'm just going to keep going. And there was a part of me that was like, actually, I got to the turnaround point and I'm like, I could probably go a couple more miles. And then you still have to think about the future and things. I was like, no, I don't want to wake up tomorrow and be dehydrated and feeling groggy and stuff. So I better turn around now. But, I turned around and everything, but I was thinking about that on my way back. Like, I told myself I'm not going to be able to do this, and I was still able to do it. And, I told my son, I'm like, if you believe that if you go out there thinking I'm going to run this mileage, that's the mileage that you're going to run. So don't cut yourself short.
Right.
If you're supposed to do an 8-mile run that day, tell yourself you got the 8 miles and you're going to do the 8 miles. But if you are, talking to yourself constantly through that run, you're like, no, I can't do it. No, I can't do it.
Right.
No, I can't do it. Then you're not going to do it. And I got about, at the 3 mile mark and I'm like, no, I got this. I got 6. And, that's what I was able to do. So it's part of it. And it's really hard to, I've been doing this for years. I've been a trainer for years. I've been coaching for years. And it's still when people ask, I've never ran before. I don't like running. It's hard to explain to them why I love it so much. It's just like, you just got to start. You just got to start.
Yes.
You just got to give it a try. And all I can say is you're going to fall in love with it.
Right.
That's it. Anybody who has given it a real shot has succeeded and ends up loving it.
Right.
But you got to give it a real shot and you can't just halfway do it. How was your process when you kind of first started out? Did you start out with walking to running, or did you start out with kind of interval walk run type training?
So I was terrified of running outside. For some reason, I just felt like treadmill is my safe place. So I'm going to go on treadmill. I know. And I got a program. It was you ran 10 minutes, you walk 2 minutes.
So
you
like
ran
a couch
8
to
minutes,
5K
kind of, but it was like you just got on the treadmill and you like run 10 minutes, walk 2 minutes, run 8 minutes, and you would just go down. So ultimately, the whole session was 35 minutes, and that's where I started. That was and then I remember the first time I ran 3 miles on the treadmill, and it just felt so great. I'm like, oh my gosh, I ran 3 miles. So it was kind of like couch to 5K, but I just knew I have to accomplish that. I think running outside, just the terrain terrified me. Like, hill? I can't run up the hill. Like, no. So that's how I started. And I think because in some way I am perfectionist, I tell myself it's a bad thing, but like you can't make a mistake. You can't fail. Shoot, we can fail. We're going to make mistakes. Like,
right.
This is life. This is the reality. But, even right now with the real estate, you really can't make a mistake. This is a different animal. But, sometimes with the cooking or with anything in life, like you're going to make mistakes. But I was extremely scared of making a mistake, failing, people seeing you failed. It's just, it's just, I guess part of my DNA.
Yeah.
So I think I just felt comfortable on the treadmill because I'm like, I'm here, I control it. And then there we go. It's a control issue. It's a control issue.
All right. So put that in the therapy.
Yes. But that was also before I really took off in the real estate, because until then I'm like, oh yeah, I got it. I can control a lot. And then the real estate make me realize you control nothing. You control only this much. The rest, you have procedures and, the right thing and the wrong thing and all that stuff. So, so the treadmill was my controlled environment. And then it's a fear of failing. It's a fear of not performing to whatever you think you should be performing on. And I think that's what usually discourages people from actually accomplishing something, or not even accomplishing, trying, because really your accomplishment will be, I'll try, run, and we'll see how it goes. So that is what always was the fear. But it's the same, with CrossFit, running or CrossFit. For me, the adrenaline rush was so high because you had in mind what goal I have to meet. So then you're like nervous, your adrenaline is rushing because you're like, well, you can't fail, or like, you can't beat me. I'll be faster, I'll be stronger, I'll be better. So it's,
Yeah. No, and I was just, this morning, I was finishing up my run as a friend of mine, Clint Smith, he's going to be on the podcast here in a couple months.
Amazing.
But he was kind of just starting his, and so I turned around and ran with him for a little while. and we were just chatting back and forth, and he had mentioned he's getting ready to do an ultra, which is awesome.
Right.
He's really excited about it, but you know, he was like, you know, there's a little bit of fear there, and I said, look, every race that I ever entered and will enter, every time I go up to the starting line, that fear's there.
Right.
You know, am I gonna puke and embarrass myself in front of these people? Am I, you know, are my pants gonna fall down? Or, you know, there's like the weirdest things you could think of. You're thinking of right then, like worst case scenario. But once you start running, it all goes away.
Right. But I think this is really a thinking process of in somewhat experienced runner, because I remember my first half marathon, I was going and I was nervous just because, but then total lack of knowledge as far as don't judge book by its cover. And I'm like, the biggest fear was don't be the last. Like, that was my, like, don't be the last.
That's what I said. I'm like, even now I'm still like, just don't be last. And I don't know when the last time was that I don't, I mean, not to like, I don't know if I was ever last, but I still have that fear of being last place.
Right.
And so it's just weird.
But that's with that half marathon. I'm like, no, I think I can beat her. I'm like, I can beat her. And then I'm running and I'm like, but they just passed me. I'm like, how are you passing me? You know, just, and I'm like, yeah, this is a great humbling moment.
Yeah. All those years of training and you get passed up by an 80-year-old dude that's just booking it. Yeah.
I'm like, are you serious? Exactly.
And I tell our student athletes all the time, like, look, running is the one sport that you can do forever.
Right.
You know, you play football, you go to college. If you're really, really lucky, you play in the NFL. And then at some point,
one or another,
you're still going to be a middle-aged dude playing flag football if you want to keep doing it. But running, you can keep competing, you keep doing it for a really long time. And there are still times that even me in the best shape and everything, I'm getting passed up by this 80-year-old that's just booking it.
Yep. Yep.
So it's also a very humbling sport.
Yes. Yes, it is. You truly realize that, you know.
But the cool thing about it is at the end of the race, you could go up to that guy and be like, you're awesome.
Right.
And he's going to say the same thing to you. And you're going to be best friends afterwards.
Yep.
Or it happens even during the race. When they're passing you, they give you a pat on the back. And they're like, good job, keep going. And you're like, it's really hard because I just got passed by an 80-year-old, but I'm going to keep doing it because you told me to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And also, you know, for me, I have a group of friends that we run with, and it is a therapy session, I guess. We solved world's problems when we ran. I mean, you know, but even, you know, I grew up Catholic. When we moved here, we started going to First Fruit Baptist Church, and there was, you know, things that you're like, well, why is it this way? You know, like Catholics do it different way. And we had so many conversations, you know, about the faith and religion. And, you know, you cry when you run, which is really hard because your throat shuts down and you can't breathe and you have a panic attack.
It's just really gross and ugly. Yeah.
Exactly. So I remember one time we were doing a half marathon. It was St. Jude's. It was a few years ago. We did one just last December, and then the first one was a few years ago. And you just run through the campus where you have those children, you know, cheering you on. And then you have, you know, parents with a posters, you know, you're running for my Johnny or whatever. And I mean, it just, I mean, even right now I've got chills. And just your throat just shuts down. You just want to cry. And then you're like, no, I can do it, you know. And I know, I mean, that's nothing to compare, but that just talking about crying and emotion. And it's just, it is such a freeing experience. Just go for that run. And especially if you have, you know, sometimes you're just like, I just want to go by myself. I don't want to talk to anybody. But that's what's really like we have right now. We run almost every Saturday in the morning, but we meet at Jude's.
Yeah.
And we go for a run.
I heard that place is awful, but continue.
I'm just kidding. We go.
I'm joking. That's my brother's place.
I know,
it's great.
right? I'm like, is there a
just
family
kidding.
feud?
No.
No. And we go for a run, and we always try to figure out the time because as soon as the run is over, we are and our sweaty bodies are going for coffee, and this is just.
I'm sure they love you guys too.
I think they do.
I hope
really
you
think they
sit
do.
on their couch too, like just right on the couch, just sweat all over it.
Maybe we did a few times. Maybe you'll never know, or you will. So, but yeah, it's just it becomes. I think running becomes part of your identity. Mm-hmm. It's just what you are.
Yeah,
and yeah.
So all the time as a coach and trainer, or just really even as a runner, we get called crazy all the time. I'm sure you get.
Why do you want to get up in the morning and go for a run?
Why do you wake up that early? Why do you do that? You're crazy. That's psychotic.
Right.
What advice or what would you say to somebody who isn't running but wants to maybe start running, or always kind of comes up with that excuse to not do it? What advice do you have for them?
So, which I don't know, like this is something what worked for me, and I always look at it. Find a running buddy. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, you don't have to. Right, because some people just prefer to run. Like you are a single runner.
No, I love to run with people as well.
And it's so funny because sometimes we go for a run and we see older people running in groups, or I mean older. I'm just saying not the 20-year-olds or the high school students. So I think because it is accountability, I think you have to get that embedded in you, that the running is really exciting before you're going to be able go by yourself every time you plan to go.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the bed is warmer, the coffee smells better than going for, there's just so many excuses.
Yeah.
I mean, the excuses I came up through my life with why not to go work, so many better things to do. I mean, even folding laundry sometimes sounds better than go for a run. So I think this is find not a community running, but you see, this is one thing, and it just kind of hit me. I know in some bigger cities, they do a running meet point where I think we have friends, they live in Idaho. I don't remember exactly where it was, but there is a starting running point at 7 o'clock on Saturdays.
Just whoever,
this is, and then people match themselves with the pace. I think, that would be a great thing to do.
It would be cool.
Yeah. And we always, whenever I talk to, a friend and say, are you guys still running? I'm like, yeah, come join us. Like we have so many different paces. We don't always run together whole hand.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to mention that when you were saying find somebody to run with. I think a lot of times, I know I've gotten this whenever I've invited people, come run with me. I can't keep up with you. I'm not going to go my pace. I'm going to go your pace.
Right.
Because it's not about, I know my capabilities and everything. I just want to go with you. I want to help you. I want to bring you along. So I don't care. We could go for a walk. I don't care. Right. But I just want to, I'm inviting you for a reason. I want to hang out with you.
Yes.
And I want to bring you into this world that I think you can really benefit from, because myself and millions of other people have benefited from it. So I think that's part of the fear too, is especially finding someone like you were talking about, you started out with Katie Huff. If you looked at her as like, oh, she's an elite runner, which she is, but you're like, I can't keep up with her, then you never would have started out. But she is that good of a runner, but she was able to come to your level and then bring you up to hers.
Right.
Or get you close to hers.
Close enough. Yes.
To hers. So I tell people that all the time. Like, it's not, if I'm running with you, it's not my pace. It's your pace.
Right.
At that point. So don't be scared to come for a run with me ever, because we're just going to hang out.
And this is because it is so intimidating to do, whatever sport it is, to go and try to join somebody that has been doing it for a while, because you're like, well, I'm not as good as them. And then, you see all those memes of this is how I look and this is how I think I look, or this is how you look, this is how I look. So yes, but it's
spoiler,
definitely,
we all look gross.
I know.
We all look ugly.
I know.
It happens.
Those
it's
pictures,
fine.
those pictures from the races are just,
they're
they're
best.
horrible. Yeah. So, but I think if you truly want to do it, one way or another, nobody's going to make you do it.
Yeah. No, it has to be your decision.
You have to want to do it, and you're just going to have to break through I can't. Because nobody will help you with that. This is the part where you on your own with, putting those running shoes and like, okay, I'm going to go. And then while you have your shoes on, find yourself a running buddy, which I'm saying, find yourself. Like we always try to invite somebody to, hey, come run with us. You know, sometimes you're going to be like, oh, dear Lord, bunch of crazy ladies.
Yeah.
But,
you're going to be crazy with us soon.
Yes. I mean, it's
come along with us.
It's fun. Yes.
So last question, we'll kind of wrap up here. How much has running, and we've talked a lot about running, but everything that we've said applies to fitness and health, wellness, all of that. If you want to start CrossFit, go to a gym. They have beginner classes. They're going to be able to get you in there at your level. They're going to get you started. Or go do something a little outside of the box. My wife just started doing a bungee fitness class with Jody Whittlesey this week.
Yes. I almost went yesterday. They just filled up the last spot.
I can't remember the name of the class, but I'll tag it in the post later. But she had a blast with it. It's fun. It gets you moving. Start with those and then go from there. But all of this applies to that. With your running, with your fitness background and everything, how much does that play into your businesses and your hard working and how much you put into those and your family and just kind of all that stuff?
So as far as the businesses, like that was, yes, I do have the, background in restaurant management, but, we could be serving fried chicken and chocolate cake and nothing against it. Absolutely nothing against it. But, my main goal was, with my experience with fitness, with my experience of probably trying 99.9% of diets that are available online or whatever, my main goal was provide healthy meals, either for, people that trying to stay healthy or people that transitioning into kind of the healthier mindset. Big part was my son, who was an athlete in high school, and he was a soccer player, and that was my big thing. You have to eat healthy. So the fitness really, I think, triggered in so many ways, because the meals that I would bring to the office and my coworkers saw, it was the grilled chicken breast that was really juicy. It wasn't the dried out that gets stuck in the in your throat. They were intrigued by it because we don't have much of those meals in the area. Right. Sometimes you think, oh, salad is great for you. Well, they are great for you, but you do have to pay attention to your dressing. Just
the dressings, or even what kind of salad. Are you eating iceberg lettuce, or are you actually eating greens
dark greens that actually provide those nutrients that you need? So really the healthy aspect was the drive for it, because you have to have, like, we kill our bodies with what we put in. And part of it's also where I grew up, just because, Poland and European Union are so strict with a lot of processed foods that are allowed in the United States. They're not allowed in Europe. So it was always, even right now in the kitchen, we make our own seasoning. We used spices to create our taco seasoning or fajita seasoning. We don't use, just because we want to control what we put in our bodies. So that was the whole drive with the food. As far as the business, I mean, you, just like with any workout sports, if you skip here and there, you're going to start feeling it in your bones. And the same with the businesses. If you are not consistent, if you don't take it seriously, you're not going to grow. You're not going to be able to provide your best to your clients. And that's what they're counting. When they come to you, and especially in real estate, I mean, we have so many agents. If they don't think you're going to do their best, they're not going to come to you. Right. You have to ensure them. And with sports, with athletics, you have to do your best if you want to, anything from if you want to perform good or if you don't want to get hurt. because, that's a big part. If you suck at it, if you don't pay attention to your form, or, you're just going to feel it in your bones. So, yes.
No, I tell our student athletes all the time, while you're sleeping in extra, your competition's out there getting better. While you're drinking soda, they're out there getting better.
Right. Although do get your sleep, athletes. You do need to get your sleep.
Get your sleep, but, wake up and be at practice. Right. Because if you're not at practice, somebody else is.
Right.
And, they're going to get better on that.
Yes, so and what I'm super excited,
is key.
My daughter, who is a sleepyhead, she loves to sleep. She actually started doing CrossFit. Cross country.
Yeah.
Cross, yes. Cross country. And she loves it. And doesn't matter that she has to be there at 6:30. She just really enjoys it. And I am super excited. She's got long legs. I hope they're going to take her places. Because, she really enjoys running. And I think she sees so many benefits from it. So I'm super excited.
Well, and the cool thing is she's seen those from you. You've led a great example with that. And that's another thing I try to tell the parents. Your kids are watching you.
Yes.
Whether you think they are or not, they're watching you. And so they're going to pick up your habits. Instill health and wellness as one of those habits to your kids when they're younger, because they're learning from you right now. So.
Yes, and food is so important. I mean, we just have to remember what we put. And, so many kids snack. It's the snacks. It's the, teach them.
My kids are home, all the kids are home from summer right now.
Right.
And thankfully, I went home and ate before coming up here, and my wife was cutting up fruits and vegetables and meats and stuff for a tray. And I'm like, okay, this is way better than Doritos and cookies and, anything else they could be grabbing.
Right.
They're grabbing fruit. And
at our house, yes, I am focused on trying to have those healthy meals and have that healthy product at home. Mm-hmm. But hey, if there's Nutella, I'll take a spoon. It's just because this is the big part why we're trying to avoid it. Because I'm like, my kids forget. And then here I am, I'm like, maybe something new in the pantry. Mm-hmm. And it's addictive, unfortunately, and it's easier. Yeah. It takes way less time to get a spoonful of Nutella than cook chicken. Yeah. Even if you have a commercial kitchen.
So thank you very much for
Thank you so much for inviting me.
I love talking to you. I think we could talk about running. Anytime I have a runner on here, this podcast could go forever.
Yes.
It's my sport. I love talking about it. I'm really excited to have, I'm going to have Andy, our pastor, on here in a couple months.
I'm super excited.
And he is, lifting all the way, no running all the way. So it's going to be a little bit opposite. And I'm really excited about that.
That is
have that conversation with him. And
with Andy, this is where the CrossFit we used to do together. And on those running workouts, when I was at my peak, I'm like, at those running workouts, I'm like, I have a chance. I have a chance to, but he's an amazing person. He's an amazing athlete. And
there's a cool story that I'll mention it in the podcast with Andy and I, and just kind of how we met and everything. And, all that, but, it involves running and and everything.
He's a great inspiration.
It was funny. I told his wife, I was like, your husband's going to be on there. And she goes, okay, tell him not to preach.
Well, it's kind of his job.
We're going to try, we're going to try to stick with the health and wellness, but he'll probably maybe preach a little bit and it'll be okay.
That's awesome. No, I am super excited. I'm super excited about your project and the podcast. And I was super excited when you asked me to be a guest. So
I've known you for a long time. My brother, my family's known you for a long time, and just the community knows you. And so anytime, I've mentioned your name, positivity comes right back. So
thank you.
You have created quite the name here in Lebanon, and we're so lucky to have you. So I really appreciate you being here. How can people find you with Century 21, and how can they find you with it? It's not catering. It's more cooking, right?
Right. So, we started not shifting, because we just do it all. Yeah. We just do it all. But yes, I am with Century 21 as a full-time agent, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And then Magda's Kitchen, PCS, which is personal cooking services. This is our really a cooking business. We provide single meals, we provide breakfast, we do fresh juices, we do, you name it, we do it. We do not fry chicken, and we do desserts for the events, but yes, we try to focus on a healthy. So we do it all, but we do Facebook. We are waiting for the website to fully be active, but Facebook page, Magda's Kitchen PCS, that's where you can find us and see our menu. Comes out new every week.
All right, and I'll make sure to tag that in the video when we post it. And once again, thank you so much for being on the podcast, and look forward to seeing where things go from here.
Yep. Thank you so much. Same here. Thanks.